Ooh, I'm a ghost. Ooh. Boo.
Don't scream, yeah, it's only Halloween. Don't scream, it's only Halloween.
Hello there, Internet. This is Ghost Olin from What I'm Listening To. I have returned from beyond the grave on this very day because it is once again Halloween. And as we all know, Halloween is the time for candy, costumes, and spooky music. I have for you today a new batch of spooky and creepy sounding albums perfect for this holiday. Let's just jump right into it. And the first album we're gonna start things off with is The Devil Wears Prada's Zombie.
Oh my god, they're everywhere.
As you know, back in high school, I listened to a lot of nu metal bands, and bands that just really weren't that great. But amongst all those groups, I also dabbled in some metalcore and some post-hardcore music, and The Devil Wears Prada was one of those bands. I have Guitar Hero to thank for getting me into these guys. I can't remember the name of the song or the album, I'll put it in the screen here. But it was the first Devil Wears Prada album I really got into and listened to a lot. Also, back in those days, I was really into zombies. I was playing a lot of Left 4 Dead. I was reading the Zombie Survival Guide and World War Z, which I did book reports on in school, and I even had a lanyard that said I loved zombies on it. So when I saw that The Devil Wears Prada announced an album called Zombie, I was curious, and boy was I in love when I first listened to this. The band basically made a concept album on the zombie apocalypse. They were reading the Zombie Survival Guide too, and were heavily inspired and decided they wanted to make something out of it. Even though this is a metalcore album, there are some really creepy elements to the songs. One song has a mock radio broadcast basically saying that there is an outbreak that's causing people to turn violent, and that if you come across it, stay away from them.
The virus has completely devastated over 150 of the world's major regions and is spreading rapidly. At this point in time, we know of only one method of killing the creatures: destroy the brain.
There's other songs that have ambience of zombies moaning, gunfire, and even a chainsaw. It's one of the coolest albums I've ever listened to. To this day, I don't really think I've heard another album that has done a concept like this. So if you're looking for some horror movie or zombie-themed music, this is the one to check out. A perfect thing to listen to for Halloween. It's a great album, great band. Glad it's in my collection. Staying on the topic of metal, the next album I have here is Cradle of Filth's Nymphetamine. Cradle of Filth is one of the first metal bands I ever got into that featured screaming vocals. Back in middle school, the only metal music I was really listening to were bands like AC/DC, Metallica, and Black Sabbath, which compared to groups like these is pretty tame. But along came YouTube and its wave of AMVs. And amongst many of the videos that were on there, someone made an AMV with the anime Fooly Cooly and the song Nymphetamine Fix. Needless to say, when I watched that video, I couldn't help but to be interested. I didn't want to admit that I liked this song because I associated people who listened to metal music with screaming vocals to be dumb. It's stupid, I know, but that's just who I was. So I kinda hid the fact that I liked the song because I thought other people would find me weird. But then I grew up and embraced metal, and therefore I was fully able to appreciate this album. Even to this day, this album I think is one of the most demonic and apocalyptic sounding metal records I've ever heard. There's something about the vocal treatments, the instrumentation, and the overall atmosphere of these songs that's just so violent and creepy and nightmarish. But some of my favorite Cradle of Filth songs live on here. Gilded Cunt is one of them, Nymphetamine Overdose is another one, and Swan Song for a Raven, which is a sequel to their song Her Ghost in the Fog, is also on here. This may not necessarily be a Halloween-themed record, but in the vein of horror music, this is a perfect record to listen to. I think if you're needing some dark and spooky music for the holiday, this is one that you can absolutely turn to. Next album I have here strays out of the metal realm and into some post-rock. I have Mogwai's Happy Songs for Happy People. Now you might be thinking Mogwai may not really be a band that you would associate with Halloween, but the reason why I picked this album for this vlog is for the song Hunted by a Freak. Saying the title of that song summons visuals of monsters like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees hunting their next victims. And furthermore, the atmosphere of the song is just as creepy. There's this overall looming darkness about the song that I think acts as a perfect soundtrack for a horror movie. The rest of the album definitely has its moments too. On this particular record, Mogwai plays a lot more with dark ambience and electronics, and thus creates sort of a spooky atmosphere. It's easily one of my favorite Mogwai records. It's in fact probably one of the first Mogwai records I ever really got into. It's definitely a far cry from some of their other more upbeat sounding songs. So if you're making your Halloween playlist, I recommend putting on Hunted by a Freak. That song alone is a really good representation of that Halloween atmosphere. Next album I have for you here, I have Chelsea Wolfe's Unknown Rooms. I've definitely talked about Chelsea Wolfe in past vlogs, and I love her work. She has a really unique ability that not a lot of musicians can pull off adequately. She can take literally any genre and turn it into something dark and creepy and yet beautiful. She's done anywhere from post-punk, noise rock, and stoner metal records, and she's just been able to knock them out of the park. But on this particular record, she doesn't do anything heavy. Rather, this record compiles a bunch of solo acoustic recordings she had done over the years. It's amazing how minimal these songs are, and yet they still pull off that same creepy atmosphere. Her vocal harmonies, her guitar playing, everything is on point. So if you're a fan of Chelsea's music, or just acoustic music in general, I recommend giving this one a listen. It's one of the darkest records I've ever heard, but once again, it's one of the most beautiful records I've ever heard.
When it's said in the dark.
The next album I have here is a bit of a wild card. This is an album by a group called Sophia. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know a single thing about this band or album. And to be even more honest, I got this record on accident. You see, what happened was I was listening to an ambient record that I thought was this one, and I liked it so much I thought, I need to buy this on CD. So I went on Discogs, ordered it, and when I got it in the mail and put it in my car, I was perplexed to hear something that was completely different. And though I was a little disappointed that I didn't get the album I wanted, I was still intrigued by this record. Instead of the hazy ambient music I was expecting, this was a lot more dark and medieval and epic sounding. I've since got the correct ambient album, but I'm still hanging on to this one because I liked it so much. I think if you're a fan of movie scores for epic films like Lord of the Rings, you might find this album interesting. But it's also a great record to put on for creating creepy atmospheres, maybe for your haunted house. It's definitely worth checking out. If you love ambient music, you may want to give this one a listen. Staying on the topic of ambient music, the next album I have here is Grouper's very first album, Way They Crept. I have talked immensely about Grouper and how amazing her music is. Literally everything she does is worth listening to. And quite honestly, I had a hard time picking which Grouper record I wanted to share on this vlog because they easily could have fit the Halloween quota. But the reason why I picked this album is because it is a really rare record to find. I managed to find a copy of this at Amoeba, and as soon as I saw it, I grabbed it. I didn't even care that it was over $20. Unless I went online and purchased this on eBay or Discogs or wherever, I never was gonna find this in the wild, ever. And the fact that it's her first record, you can tell that the stuff she was using to record these songs is a lot more antiquated than her more refined material. Her stuff is already known for being hazy and droning and dark, but the lo-fi nature of these recordings adds a whole other layer of haze and darkness. Not to mention, the cover is equally as creepy as the music. I would even say that it really matches what the songs sound like. But yes, this, along with everything else Grouper has done, is magnificent. If you're looking for dark ambient music for Halloween, this is the stuff to listen to. This album and everything else she's done. It just completely embodies the absolute creepiness of Halloween. Finally, rounding this list off, the last thing I have for you today is actually Halloween-themed music. This is an album by a band called the Marshmallow Ghosts. Because I've purchased a lot of things on Bandcamp, I automatically get subscribed to bands' newsletters, and I will receive frequent emails from them about new releases. One of the newsletters I'm subscribed to is by the label Graveface Records. And one day I received an email from them promoting a new album by the Marshmallow Ghosts. I had no idea who they were or what they sounded like, but the band name sounded so hilarious and interesting to me that I had to go check them out. Initially, I thought it was going to be cheesy Halloween music that you'd hear at like a children's costume party. But when I started listening to the songs off this album, I was surprised to see that they're a serious band, and they make amazing music. It's noisy, slightly ambient, and even shoegazy at times, but it's all Halloween themed. So I decided I have to get this record, partially because the music is great, but also because I had to share it for this vlog. This is a band absolutely worth checking out, especially for Halloween. I'm gonna leave a link to their Bandcamp in the description below. Please listen to this record, support these guys, they are fantastic. And thank you again, Greatface, for introducing these guys to me. I don't think I would be sitting here talking about them if I wasn't subscribed to your newsletter. Alrighty then, internet, that does it for me. Hey, if you have any bands or albums you want me to check out, particularly anything perfect for Halloween, leave a comment down below, and if I like them, maybe I'll include them in the next Halloween vlog. Also, if you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It'll show me the support, and I'll love your face for it. And you can also follow me on Instagram for even more music. I post a new album on there every single day, talk a little bit about it, and it gives you a bit of an insight of what else is in my collection. So, thank you all for watching. This is Ghost Olin from What I'm Listening To, signing out. Goodbye! I wonder if I got anything.
I ain't gon' let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy,